Hello everyone, a very good afternoon. Guys, today we are going to analyze the annual budget and this is for the financial year 2026-27, right? In my previous video of economic survey, I informed you that survey is for the year which has already passed by, right? So, economic survey was for the year 2025-26. Economic survey is a report card that tells you that how government performed in that year, what all achievements were done by the government, and that too in terms of figures, okay, in various sectors of the economy. And we made a elaborate video of 2 hours 40 minutes nearly on that, okay, and you can refer that video. Budget is for the upcoming year, surveys for the preceding year, and budget is for the upcoming year. See, whenever we want to do anything, we make a budget for it, that this much will be our expense, these are our resources, this much money I have. Same is the case with the government. Government makes the budget for the upcoming year, upcoming financial year. Financial year starts from 1st of April. So this budget will be effective from 1st of April 2026 till 31st of March 2027. And every year budget comes on the 1st of Feb. So this year as well, it came on 1st of Feb, that is Sunday. And today we are going to analyze it. Before getting started with it, few things I want to tell you about this budget so that you can have an idea of it. This time's budget is actually a low key budget or a low circuit budget. There are no big announcements done. There is no new policy to for the middle class or for a particular section of the society. So no such big thing is done. None of the tax cut is here. I'm talking about the direct tax. No relief is given in that also. In fact, this budget is the continuation of the budget of 2025. Just the continuation of it. Okay. So here you see Nirmala Sitharaman arrives at Finance Ministry ahead of budget presentation. Okay. Then, as the tradition, the budget is being presented to the president by the finance minister, and president feeds her with the dahi chini. Okay. Union cabinet has approved 2026-7 budget. Finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman will present the same in the Lok Sabha. So these are all the headlines. Okay. And then this is the major thing. Sitharaman accepts the recommendations of the 16th Finance Commission. What is Finance Commission? We are going to discuss this Finance Commission thing later in the budget. But to give you an idea, Finance Commission is a body that is formed in every 5 years. The job of Finance Commission is to reduce the gap between the earnings of the center and the state. See, in nutshell, you can understand that earning of center union is much more than that of the state, right? But paradoxically, the expenditure of the state is higher than that of the center. So earning of state is less, but expenditure is more. Whereas center's expenditure is less and its earning is more. So there is a gap, there is a bridge between the center and the state. Okay. And this is actually known as, if I draw it, this is called as vertical imbalance. If here you have union along the y-axis, vertical axis, so here you have state, union, that is center, and here you have state, and that's the difference between them, between the earning and the expenditure. So the job of Finance Commission is to bridge this gap, to reduce this gap. How can it be reduced? If union or the center gives a certain amount of funds to the states from its earning, if it shares its earning, then this gap can be reduced. So Finance Commission gives recommendation on this thing. Okay, and this is called vertical imbalance. Okay, then along x-axis there are several states, you all know. Okay, now there are certain states in India that are economically thriving, whether it is Maharashtra, Gujarat, and on the other hand, there are few states which are not doing that well or which are performing very badly. For example, Bihar, UP, right? So there is a gap between the states as well. There is imbalance between the states as well. This imbalance between the states is again represented along the x-axis, and this is called horizontal imbalance. So the job of Finance Commission is also to give more funds or allot more funds to the state which is lagging way behind, and give lesser fund to the developed states because they actually do not need that much, right? So this time it is 16th Finance Commission, and the ministry, the cabinet has accepted the recommendations of the Finance Commission. Fine. Now, if I talk about the constitutional aspect of budget, so guys, in the constitution, no such word called budget is mentioned. Okay, budget is not written in our constitution, but according to the article 266 of the constitution, parliamentary approval is required to draw money from the consolidated funds of India. Consolidated funds of India, you can take it as an account, the account of the government, right? Now, if government wants to do certain expenditure, if government wants to make certain expenditure, spend money, it has to withdraw funds from the consolidated fund of India. But government can only withdraw funds from this account if it gets the approval of the parliament, right? So that's what budget is all about. It is about, one portion of the budget is about the receipts and the expenditure that government is planning or is thinking it will incur in the upcoming year. Getting my point? So government actually presents its entire account in front of the parliament for parliament to see that what all the receipts and expenditure are. Also, government talks about its new policies that government is planning to implement in the upcoming year, the new provisions, all these things government presents in the parliament, and then MPs, parliamentarians, they vote for it, and if the budget gets passed, then only government can withdraw fund from it. So that's how the term budget is not mentioned, but still we call it budget because actually government is presenting the budget of the upcoming year, that what all its receipts as well as expenditures will be, right? But if we talk about the constitutional word, so the constitutional word is annual financial statement, and that's the accounting term, right? Because budget is presented every year, so that's why the word annual financial statement, expenditure and receipts. Got my point, guys? Yeah. Afrin, Vidishri, Priya, everyone. Yeah. Now, articles related to financial matters. So, Article 112 to 117 of the Constitution deal with the financial matter. Besides, Article 114.3 of the Constitution stipulates that no amount can be withdrawn, as I already told you, from the consolidated fund without the enactment of the law, that is the appropriation bill. Until and unless this bill is passed, Parliament approves it, government cannot make any withdrawal, right? Now, why budget is so important? First of all, for you people who are aspiring to be IAS, IPS, IFS officer, right? That means the people who want to appear for IAS examination, whether you have taken economics as your optional or you have may not have taken economics as your optional, for your GS as well, budget is the very important document. Actually, the budget as well as economic survey, both are very important for you, right? And if you are preparing for even Indian economic services or you have taken economics optional, then to budget and economic survey are very important. Direct questions come from these, and economic survey and budget are used as the context, and then questions are asked from there. Every year in GS, you can expect 3 to 4 questions that would revolve around the survey and the budget, right? So it becomes very important for you, very crucial for you, right? But that is the aspect of the aspirants. But if I talk in general, if I talk about the Indian economy, so budget is a very important, indispensable item. Why? Because budget tells the people that what is the direction or what will be the trajectory of the government in the upcoming year. What are the plans and policies of the government in the upcoming year? Which sectors government is planning to spend more money, or which sector government is reducing its expenditure? All these things. What is the financial condition of the country? That means how much receipt government got, how much receipt government got in capital form, that is capital receipt, how much in revenue receipt, what is the capital expenditure, revenue expenditure, what is the deficit. Once we go through it, I'll explain these terms to you as well. Okay, so these things become very important for anyone who is in the economy, whether they are aware of it or not, but it is very important for them. It affects their day-to-day life as well. Okay, so budget helps us understand what the government plans to do with the citizens' money, which is given to the government in the form of multiple direct and indirect taxes. Information about the government plans to tax and its spending prioritizes matters as it directly impacts the life of the citizens. Who is responsible for preparing the budget? So, guys, the budget division of the Department of Economic Affairs in the Ministry of by Finance Minister. FM is the nodal body responsible for preparing the budget. So this department under Finance Ministry, it works on the budget. Okay, there are certain pictures, you can Google it as well. The committee or the department that prepares the budget, they actually, there is a ceremony that is called halwa ceremony. So finance minister gives them halwa, a sort of, you can say, traditional thing, that Indian traditional thing. Whenever you start something good, right, you eat something sweet and then you start it. And then these people, they get locked in a building, in the basement of the building, no internet connection, no mobile, nothing, and they will prepare the budget. And once budget is prepared, till budget is presented, they will not come out of that zone, right? Why? Because in 1950, these precautionary, this is very important. Why? Because if budget gets leaked out, people can use it to make millions and millions of rupee, right? Our neighboring countries can use it to alter our markets, our financial markets, right? For example, if in the budget it is said that government is going to spend more on the electrical vehicle, so an individual will and if that individual gets this knowledge before budget is presented, he may start purchasing the shares of electric vehicles in bulk, right? While others are not aware of it. Similarly, now this is a citizen, how much, an individual, how much will he purchase? But if some country like China comes to know of it, they can change the course of the financial market, right or wrong. They can invest in huge chunks, right? So there are many threats to it. This is one of it. And in 1950, our budget actually got stolen. After that, these measures were taken so that we can avoid it. Until date, no such thing has happened. Our budget never got leaked, right? So now if I talk about the longest speech that was given on the budget in terms of words, so it was given by Dr. Manmohan Singh when he was the finance minister in 1991, and when he introduced LPG reforms, liberalization, privatization, globalization in 1991, 18,650 words. His speech was of 18,650 words. And if I talk in terms of duration, so the longest duration speech on budget was given by Nirmala Sitharaman in the budget of 2020, right? Now, when the finance minister started her budget speech, so what she said, what was her opening statement? The opening statement was that since we assumed office 12 years ago, India's economic trajectory means path. India's economic trajectory has been marked by stability, fiscal discipline, sustained growth, and moderate inflation. Government steps have delivered high growth rate of around 7%. And as I discussed in the economic survey, 7.4% was the growth rate, right? So, and it's been 12 years of this government from 2014 till 2026. So, what is she saying? That fiscal discipline, fiscal means the government policies that affect the economy, policies of the government that affect the economy, economical aspects of the country, that is called fiscal. Got my point? So the fiscal discipline, sustained growth. Sustained means continuous, not volatile, not fluctuating, rather continuous. Okay. Anyway, now high growth rate of around 7%, and how and what all are the effects of it, how it came possible. So this provided energy security, reduced critical import dependence. When we are growing at the rate of 7%, then how we achieved this growth rate, what all steps government took in these 12 years that this average growth rate was obtained. So these steps I have enumerated here, that government has worked, made schemes and policies which has provided energy security to the country. Okay. Then we have reduced our imports on what? On critical aspects or critical things or critical minerals that our country needs. It may be security, it may be defense. Okay. We have reduced our dependence on other nations. Then far reaching structural reforms. The reforms that have been introduced by this government, the structural reforms of the economy that change the course of the economy, these reforms have been such that they led to the growth of 7%. Fiscal prudence means that government did not show flexible nature or dhulmul ravaiya that you call in Hindi in case of fiscal discipline, right? Government took stern measures and just not only made policy, rather implemented it on the ground as well. That's not what I am saying. That's finance minister. Okay. Monetary stability, country is experiencing monetary stability, strong thrust on public investments have increased, citizen benefits from government actions. There are so many schemes where farmers are getting 6,000 rupees, direct benefit transfer schemes are occurring. Okay, public private partnership is occurring. There are so many schemes, innumerable schemes launched in 12 years which are directly benefiting the citizens of the country. Domestic manufacturing capacity in every budget, and this year also you will see that government has laid special emphasis on the MSME. And why not? MSME is the backbone of manufacturing sector in India. So every year government allots funds to it, pays special attention to it. Okay. So that's what it is saying, domestic manufacturing capacity. Got my point, everyone? Right. Now, this budget, government or FM called it Yuva Shakti driven budget. That means in this budget, the steps were taken to empower the youth. The budget revolves around the youth. Okay. Government's sankalp means commitment to focus on poor, underprivileged, and disadvantaged. This is government's commitment that it is going to focus on the poor people, underprivileged, who do not have the necessary facilities and resources, and disadvantaged people who do not have, due to, you can say, generational poverty or whatever the reason be, they do not have access to the normal facilities and amenities that we use day to day. So government is going to lay a special focus on them. First, kartavya means duty, right? So first duty of government is to accelerate and sustain economic growth. Government is saying that its first duty is that it will increase the growth, and not only increase it, accelerate means increase, but will also maintain that increased growth. Okay. Second kartavya, fulfill aspirations of our people. So, and here she's talking about the rational aspirations, right? It's not like everyone is saying I want Jaguar and BMW, right? So the people who select the government, we people select the government, and we expect something from government in return as well, that the government will do something for our benefit, government will do something for the society as a whole, government will do something to improvise the infrastructure, and so on, right? So these are the things that are being said, that to fulfill the aspirations of our people. Then the third kartavya, vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. That's the slogan of the Modi government. Sabka Saath means incorporation of everyone and development of everyone. Right. So for first Kartavya, what is government doing to accelerate and sustain economic growth? It is enhancing productivity and competitiveness. In our country, there were certain schemes that were launched in the manufacturing sector as well. Government is paying special attention for the skill development so that human labor becomes more productive. Right. So all these steps are being taken by the government. Building resilience to volatile global dynamics. And this was discussed in length. This was discussed in length in the economic survey by me. Okay. And what was that? That the global scenario is very volatile as of now, and you people are, that's a common knowledge, you people are aware of it as well. Whether you look at the America is playing the role of a bully of the world. Yeah. Trump is imposing irrational tariffs on the country. And this has been said in our economic survey as well, that it is the first time the world is observing that economic policy of protectionism is being used as a tool, is being used as a weapon. The more better word is weapon, to blackmail other countries, to make other countries follow what that particular country wants. Okay, so that's the first time. And then there are wars. Several wars are being waged throughout the world. Everywhere you look, either the war is going on or they are preparing for some war. Right? Presently, Iran and US condition, right? So and when wars are occurring throughout the world, when distrust is developing in the world, when protectionist measures are being followed by different nations, then guys, what happens? There is the mutual feeling of, and that feeling spreads throughout the globe, and that feeling is of mistrust. Countries stop trusting each other, and in such cases, economy doesn't thrive. Right? Global economy will not thrive, rather it will plunge. Okay. So that's what it is saying, that the global conditions are very volatile, okay, very fragile conditions. But still under these conditions, Indian economy showed resilience. Resilience means the stubbornness not to give up, okay, fighting it back. Indian economy showed the resilience and we maintained a proper growth of around 7%. Fine. Next, fulfill aspirations of a people. So build people's capacity. That's again the human development that government is talking about. What is education? Education is a tool to enhance your productivity, right? To make you more skillful. Yeah. So, and when people would be skillful, informed, their capacity would increase. They will become more productive, making them strong partners in India's path to prosperity. And obviously, when the citizens of the country are more skillful, they will lead the country to the brighter future. Vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. So ensure that every family, community, religion, and sector has access to resources, amenities, and opportunities for meaningful participation. There should not be any biasness, right? On the basis of religion, on the basis of sex, on the basis of location. There shouldn't be any biasness for the government. Government should treat all its citizens alike. And how government treats all its citizens alike? Everyone should have access to the resources available in the country. Secondly, everyone should get equal opportunities. The people who are lagging way behind, government has taken certain steps for them, reservations and all, so that to bring them ahead and make them the part of the economy. Okay. So government has to provide the facilities and equal opportunities to everyone without any biasness. That is Sabka Saath and Sabka Vikas. Now, India's Reform Express, government has undertaken comprehensive economic reforms towards creating employment, boosting, that's number one, creating employment, number two, boosting productivity and accelerating growth. Over 350 reforms have been rolled out. Rolled out means have been passed, including GST simplification, notification of labor codes, and this we saw few days earlier only, that there have been certain modifications in the labor laws. Okay, and that was mentioned in the survey as well. and rationalization of mandatory quality control orders. High-level committees have been formed. Central government is working with the state governments on deregulation and reducing compliance requirement, and that is important. You see, why manufacturing doesn't thrive in India, or why don't we see a surge in the manufacturing sector? And one of the reason is the very rigid laws, right? The rigid laws which are there, the laws which prevent. There are so. Just take the example. Suppose you want to get a license of export and import. Okay. And if you compare it for now, in the present scenario, it is relatively much easier, but it's still very cumbersome. You have to fill so many forms. You have to go again and again to certain government offices for simple approval. There is wastage of so much time, energy, and money, and obviously corruption is there, right? Government is trying to improvise these things. Government is trying to make the things simple for the traders, for the manufacturers, where they would not be asked for so many compliances. Government is trying to deregulate it. Okay. And in this regard, government had initially and previously deleted many laws which were actually the criminal laws. That means in case of business, if you incur a loss, or if you're not able to pay money back to the lenders, there were certain clauses under which you could be jailed. You can go behind bars, right? Criminalization of business was there. All these things have been obsoleted by the government, and government is further looking and is collaborating with the states to further make the things simple. Okay. Next is pillars of growth and development. See, these are the 6 headers, and our budget of 2026-27 is classified under these 6 headers. You can take them 6 chapters. Entire budget is under these 6 chapters. First is sustaining economic growth. Second is strengthening the foundation of growth. Third is people-centric development. Fourth is trust-based governance. Fifth is ease of doing business and ease of living. And sixth is fiscal matters. Okay. So starting from sustaining economic growth, manufacturing strategic and frontier sector. So when we start with it, government first of all talks about the manufacturing strategies. What are the strategies in the manufacturing sector? So first of all, India Semiconductor Mission, ISM 2.0. If you remember a few years back, India launched its semiconductor mission. Now that new version of that mission or policy is launched, that is ISM 2.0. Why? Because you see guys, semiconductor is very crucial and in demand material throughout the world. The demand of semiconductor is very high. I don't know you are aware or not. Our dependence on semiconductor is increasing day by day, whether it is your mobile, it is your tab, if you are wearing a smartwatch, your watch, okay, your laptop, this is a smartphone, even the LEDs and all. Okay. So the world's reliance on semiconductor is increasing day by day. And in India, the production of semiconductor is way low in comparison to its peers, right? I myself am semiconductor electronics and communication engineer, and at that time there was nothing in India to claim that we have got something which is providing the manufacturing to the semiconductors. Okay, but now government is serious related to it. Government is taking several measures and is trying to manufacture semiconductor devices in India. So for that, this mission is launched. Then Biopharma SHAKTI. Government, India is known as the mother of pharmacy in the world. Okay, so in this regard, government is again going to spend, and government is trying to make it more consolidated and strong. High-tech tool rooms in CPSEs, and this we discussed in the survey as well, that government is planning to build data centers for AIs and everything. High-tech rooms, all these things would be taken care of. A scheme for rare earth permanent magnets. Now guys, this has become very important, and China is actually a sort of China has got monopoly in it, right? If you talk about rare earth permanent magnets, and you might be thinking that what is the use of magnet, but you see there are certain physical process, electromagnetic induction and all these things, these are very necessary. Okay, the devices that you use, and especially in the semiconductor and electronic devices, permanent magnets are required, okay, for the manufacturing and other aspects as well. Not going into the technicalities. Research, mining, processing and manufacturing. Okay, scheme for container manufacturing. The container, which container I am talking of? I am talking about the container which are used for shipping the things abroad. Okay, have you seen those big containers in the ship, in the dock? That's what it is referring to. 3 dedicated chemical parks enhancing domestic production. Government also wants to enhance the production of chemicals in India. So park doesn't mean the normal park that you think of where trees and flowers are there. No, park means a particular area where everything would be, the industry would be of chemicals. Okay, industry means several firms producing same type of goods. So a particular area where there will be several firms, and those firms will be chemical firms. And 3 such parks, 3 such spaces government wants to start. Integrated program for textiles. Okay, now you see India is one of the biggest exporter of textile, and our textile industry got a blow when Trump increased the tariff to 50%, and we suffered loss also. That was there in the survey as well. Okay, and the reports tell it. Government is trying to strengthen and integrate this program of textile, dedicated initiative for manufacturing of affordable sports goods. Okay, see, the if you look at Olympics and all, you will find that our sports people are lagging way behind. We do not get that many gold or silver, right? Whereas other nations, they get a lot of gold and silver. Why? Because we are not able to provide that proper infra, the accessories and all, and there are several stories even related to it. So government is now going to work on it. Electronics component manufacturing scheme, again the part of ISM, because electronic components are manufactured with semiconductor only, right? So electronic components, your mobile, your tab, it has got so many parts you are not aware of, right? It has got a chip, that is integrated circuit, microprocessor. It is a microprocessor, has got so many pins, thousands and thousands of pins. Even the basic microprocessor 8085 has 5000 pins. There's so many things are there. So, and even if, pay attention, even if few electronic items that we manufacture here in India, whether it is laptop, it is mobile, or it is tab, we do not manufacture the components of it. We are just assembling the components. We are importing the components from China. So what's the use? Yes or no? We are just the assembler then, not the manufacturer, right? That manufacturer here would be a misnomer. We are assembler. So now government is laying focus on it, that we would become independent and we'll try to manufacture the electronic components as well. Strengthening domestic manufacturing of high value and technologically advanced construction and infrastructure equipment. So now government wants to lay strain on the manufacturing of high value technologically advanced construction infrastructure. That means such places, such areas will be developed that will be technologically apt, that will have the facilities which will suit the present requirements. Okay, schemes to revive 200 legacy industrial clusters. See, in India, and there are many cities which are actually referred as the graveyard of industries. For example, Kanpur. So many industries have died. The clusters of industries are there. So now government wants to revive them. That's called Punarjeevikaran, right? That's what government calls it. For example, Punarjeevikaran of Nalanda took place, right? So government wants to revive these clusters. Next is tax reforms to boost manufacturing sector. Now see guys, if you talk about manufacturing sector in India, it is lagging way behind, and manufacturing sector needs certain support and certain help from the government, and it needs incentivization as well as subsidies from the government. So if government will reduce the tax on the manufacturing, it will be a boost for the sector. So that's what government is talking about. So exemption from income tax for 5 years to non-residents providing capital goods, equipment or tooling to any toll manufacturer in bonded zone. So first of all, what is the meaning of this bonded zone manufacturer and what is toll? See, the meaning is that if a machine is manufactured, there are several parts of the machine. Okay, if an individual or a factory is manufacturing the machine, so it is not that it will manufacture all the parts of the machine. It will actually hire few small manufacturers called as toll manufacturers who are going to manufacture the different parts of the machine. Okay, whatever the inventory and whatever the expertise is, and then this big manufacturer, he or she is going to assemble it and the machine would be formed. So that's what happens in India. So these small part manufacturers of a machine of a capital good are called toll manufacturer. Okay, so government is saying that it will exempt, it will not take income tax for 5 years. And from whom? From those residents, from those people who are not the residents of the India. They are located somewhere abroad, but they are helping India in manufacturing capital goods by providing these small parts or manufacturing these small parts. So to give boost to them so that they can give more and more parts, manufacture more and more parts, government has exempted them from the income tax. Provisions of safe harbor to non-residents for component warehousing. That means warehouse means what? Warehouse means the place where you store the things. Okay. So again, government is talking about the non-residents. If the people, you are citizen of India, you are living in Mauritius, you are living in UK, whatever. But if you are into the manufacturing sector, government, and you want to store the things, you want to do the business in India of manufacturing, government is going to help you. It will provide you with the warehouse. Okay, it will make things easy for you to do that. It will try to reduce the legal compliance and taxes. Deferred duty payment to trusted manufacturers. Okay, now see what government is going to do. Government is going to increase the window. For example, there is a window to pay GST. Huh? Either every month you have to pay, or in 6 months, or in 1 year. Government, similarly, in case of manufacturing, whether it is GST, whether it is your production duties and all these things, government is going to increase the window. It is going to give more time to pay the tax. Then duty-free imports of specified inputs extended to export of these upper leather and synthetic footwear. So if you are going to import the leather, if you are going to make sandals or the leather goods, so government has made the things that you import duty-free. It is not going to charge anything from it. Okay. Extension of time of the export final products from the existing 6 months to 1 year for exporters or textile, garment, leather. When people export, again they have to pay tax, right? So initially 6 months period was given, and there was a period that in 6 months you have to pay it. The government has increased it to 1 year. Now the window has again extended. Exemption from basic custom duties, that is manufacturing duties. Whenever you manufacture something, you have to pay duty on it. Okay, for the specified parts in the manufacturing. Exemption from basic custom duty on the components and parts in aircraft manufacturing as well. So if you are manufacturing the air parts, government, by this we understand that government wants to push or elevate the aviation industry of the country, right? So that's why if you are manufacturing the parts of aircraft, government is going to give relief to you. Basic duties, custom duties would be removed from you. Regular importers with trusted long-standing supply chains to be recognized in the system. Export cargo using electronic sealing to be provided through cleanliness from factory premises to the ship. So all these are the measures that government is taking. And basically, in the case of export, import, or the manufacturers which are non-residents, and in the aircraft section. Fine. Three-pronged approach to help, as I told you, MSME, in every budget we see this, grow as champions. And MSME is very important. It is the backbone of the country. backbone of the manufacturing sector in the country. So first of all, it's the equity support dedicated rupees 10,000 crore SME growth fund. So in SME growth fund, government is going to give 10,000 crore rupees this year. Top up the self-reliant India fund with 2,000 crore. So in 2021, government launched self-reliant fund for MSME. And why this fund was made? To help the MSMEs. So government is now going to further add 2,000 crore rupees to it. Okay. Then professional support, government to facilitate professional institutions to develop corporate mitras. Mitras means friend, especially in tier 2 and tier 3 towns to help MSMEs meet compliance requirement at affordable cost. So people of the government, people trained by the government, they will go to the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, for example, in a small town, if someone wants to start, let's say, a business of making handbags, okay, cloth bags. So this comes under the small industry, right? Micro industry. So, but he or she is not aware with the compliance, what all he has to do, how to start a firm, how to get it registered, what are all are the complications, what is the procedure. He is not aware of it. Okay, he just has the business sense. So he will hunt, he will research, it will waste lot of time and energy, and still there is no surety that the steps he is taking are correct. So there will be corporate mitras, government officials appointed by government to help such people to start the business in their cities or in towns. Got my point? Liquidity support through threads. Mandate threads as the transaction settlement platform for all purchases from MSMEs, serving as a benchmark for other corporate. This is what? This is electronic platform for the MSMEs. Okay. So when MSMEs manufacture anything, so government has made a platform for them. There they can meet the client, they can sell their product. Okay, they can meet with other people of the MSMEs as well. So for this is the platform. Introduce a credit guarantee support mechanism for invoice discounting on the trade platform. So credit means providing financial help. Okay, this will also be introduced in this threads. Linking GEM with threads to encourage cheaper and quicker financing. GEM is the app electronic platform for businesses to get finance. Okay, so government and trade is for the MSMEs. These two are the electronic platforms of the government of India. Now government of India is going to link them so that MSMEs can acquire credit at a cheaper rate. Trades receivable as asset-backed securities to develop a secondary market and enhance liquidity settlement of transactions. Okay, now trade will also be associated with the secondary financial market, the stock market and all security market. From there, what can be done? They can launch their own securities, they can get loan by mortgaging their securities. These things would help the MSMEs to carry on their business forward. Next is renewing the emphasis on the service sector. Guys, this was there in the economic survey as well, that if you talk about the urban areas, then 56% of the GDP of urban areas comes from the service sector. 56% of the people in urban areas rely on the service sector. So service sector is the backbone for the urban sector, and even in the rural sector 35% dependence is on the service sector. That's what economic survey said. So since it is the backbone, it is of such high importance to the Indian economy, government is going to lay emphasis on it. It is going to further strengthen it. Okay, and when I talk about service sector, so service sector is a single word, but it has got many dimensions to it. There are many sectors affiliated to the service sector, whether it is health, whether it is finance, whether it is education. There are so many sectors affiliated with it, right? So starting from service sector, it says high-powered education to employment and enterprise. Standing committee in to focus on the service sector as the driver of Viksit Bharat. So what it means is that education to employment and enterprise. government is going to start a system where people will be educated so that they can get a job in the service sector, they can secure the employment, and they can have enterprise. Okay. Second, upgrade establishing new institution for allied, this is health sector, health professional in terms of selected discipline, AHPs, allied health professional. So upgrade and establishing new institution, government will establish new institution as well as it will upgrade the existing institution of allied health. Okay. Developing a variety of NSQF aligned programs to train 1.5 lakh what? Thank you. Multi-skilled, okay, engineers. So if we talk about the care system, government is going to take steps and it is going to train 1.5 lakh multi-skilled engineer, caregivers. Okay, actually, problem with my eye. Huh? Next is medical tourism. So schemes to support states in establishing 5 hubs for medical value tourism in partnership with the private. Now see, medical tourism in India is a very popular sector. It gives lot of revenue. What is the meaning of medical tourism? Is not like that you are going to visit the hospitals and all. Medical tourism means that people from the neighboring countries like Afghanistan, Bangladesh, all these people, if they fall ill in their country, they do not have that well established health infrastructure, so they come to the India for further treatment, and this gives lot of revenue to us. So government is going to work on it to further enhance it. Okay. 3 new all India institutes of Ayurveda, upgrading Ayush pharmaceuticals and drug testing labs for higher stats and upgrading the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center. So now under Ayushman Bharat Yojana, if you might have heard of, there is Ayushman card as well. Okay, for the medical treatment. Under this scheme, government is going to incorporate Ayurveda as well and is going to establish 3 new institutes for it. Okay. Setting up AVGC content creator. Now that is orange economy, and orange economy is something which is quite popular today. I hope you know what is orange economy. It's content creation, the content that you observe in YouTube, Insta, whatever. So who are these people? These are content creators, and this has become one very important segment of the economy. Okay, revenue is generated from that. So what is government going to do? Government is going to create content creator labs. Okay, and it is going to train 15,000 secondary people. That means the training to 15,000, these labs will have the capacity to train 15,000 people. Training in what? Training to develop content, how to develop content, what are the technical requirements, all these things, so that these people can get skilled in it and they can get an employment, self-employment. Okay. Then, if we talk about design, so setting up of a new national institution
Hello.
of design through the challenge route eastern region in India. Pay attention. Designing, just like for IITs are Indian Institute of Technology, right? IIM, Indian Institute of Management. Similarly, there are national institutes of designing as well. So now government is planning to start a new institute, National Institute of Design, and government wants to do it in the eastern part of the country. Okay. Then comes the sport. So under Khelo India mission, integrated talent development, primary systematic commanding development, integration of all these facilities together of sports and infrastructure. So under Khelo India, as I told you, that's a problem with us. We do not secure so many medals in the Olympics, right? In India, only cricket is popular. Other sports and the conditions and infrastructure of those sports are lagging way behind. So now government wants to upgrade it. It wants to enhance it. Moving on. Now, if we talk about education, so 5 university township in the vicinity of major industrial and logistic corridors. So logistic corridors, the corridor and major industrial areas in this vicinity, in that area, government is going to start 5 university township. What is the meaning of university township? Uh, has anyone gone to JNU? Jawaharlal Nehru University. Go there, that's a university township. That means university is there, plus people working there. They have got apartments there, they live in it, there is a market, everything is there, a town sort of thing. Okay, so a town affiliated to the university. That's what university township means. So 5 such university township will be started in those areas where industries are there. Okay, a girls hostel in higher education STEM. What is the meaning of STEM? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics institution in every district. So, girls, now this is a problem. In India, the safety of girl is a prima facie concern, right? It was in the news every day in Delhi. 500 to 600 girls are disappearing, right? So, all these, and there are certain problems girls have to, if they go for higher education or if they go for work in some other city away from their home, so there is always the problem of residence, right? The PGs that are available or the hostels that are available, they are very expensive, not everyone can afford it. So for that purpose, government is going to start girls hostel in higher education. If girls are getting educated in the science, doing masters in science, graduation in science, technology, engineering, right, maths. So for that, hostels will be there. Setting up or upgrading 4 telescope infrastructure facilities. Again, the setup for the telescope facilities. Setting up, now for tourism, setting up a National Institute of Hospitality as a bridge between academia, industry, and the government. Institute of Hospitality. Hospitality means what? Tourism, right? So hospitality, the all this, your food business, it comes under hospitality. Hotels come under hospitality. The tourist guide that you take if you go to some place that is new to you, that is again hospitality. So institute will be set up, and this will be a national institute. That means it would come under the central government as a bridge between academia, since it is an institute, it is academia, industry, tourism industry, and government. Okay, government is providing help for it. Okay, pilot scheme for upskilling 10,000 guides in 20 iconic tourist sites. So I just talked about tourist guides. 10,000 guides will be trained. For example, tourist guides of Ayodhya. So they would be trained for that. What is the tradition of Ayodhya, historical importance, all these things, they should be well versed with it. Okay. National Destination Digital Knowledge Grid to digitally document all places of significance. Then to develop ecologically sustainable mountain trails. People are fond of adventurous sports. Yeah, they go for hiking. Has anyone done? I also like it. So, but you know what happens? So there are so many mountain trails in India if you go to Himachal and all. But there are so many mountain trails which are not very popular. Hardly anyone knows about it apart from the local people. People go to few places in mountain, Kullu, Manali, Shimla, all these things which are overcrowded. But there are certain places in the mountains itself where the beauty is very, they are high in the aestheticism and the beauty, but and very few people know about it, so no one goes there. So tourism is not popping up there. So government is going to do what? Government is going to develop such mountain trails so that these areas can develop as well. Okay, turtle trails and bird watching trails. Turtle trails, the trails where you'll observe turtle, bird watching, all these words are very popular if you go to the mountain. There are the sites from where you can watch the birds and all. So government is going to work on this and develop it. India to host the first ever Global Big Cat Summit. Develop 15 archaeological sites into vibrant experimental cultural destination. So those destinations which have got some cultural roots attached to it, in such places, archaeological sites, archaeology, Archaeology is the extension or the research work of history that is done, digging up the things and all those things. Okay. Development of Buddhist circuit. If you go to the northeast region, so there monasteries and all these things, Buddhist culture is there. So government wants to use this. It wants to establish the Buddhist circuit so that people from other countries, foreign tourists, can also be attracted to it. Okay. Moving on. Then if we talk about the financial sector, so setting up high value committee on banking for Viksit Bharat to align with India's next growth phase. So a committee would be set up, and this committee will be on the banking for Viksit Bharat, banking for developed India. Okay. Incentive of rupees 100 crore for single issuance of municipal bonds of more than 1000 crore. Current scheme under Amrit will continue. See guys, municipal bonds, the area where you live, the town where you live, there are municipalities or municipal corporation there. You people might be aware of bonds. What is bond? Bond is a debt instrument. It can be launched by the government. For example, central government launches a bond. It's of 10,000 rupees. Okay, so if you will pay 10,000 rupees, you'll get the bond. This 10,000 rupees that you paid to secure a bond, you have actually lent that money to the government. Okay, government has actually borrowed 10,000 rupees from you, and whenever you lend out the money to someone, what you get in return? You get interest. So on that bond, interest rate would be written 5%, 6%, 7%, whatever. Okay, per annum. This interest government will give you on annual basis. Every year 6% of 10,000 is 600 rupees. You'll get 600 rupees. Okay, and you have lent out the money to the government. What will government do with this money? See, our budget is always in deficit. We have fiscal deficit, right? Our expenditures are more, and we are developing country. This is an aspect of developing country. Government will use that money for the development of the country, which is called capital expenditure and all. Okay, in the same way, private companies also launch the bonds and people purchase it, and municipal corporations and municipal committees also launch the bonds. Okay, so that's what government is saying, that for the bonds which are more than 1000 crore, government is going to incentivize 100 crore rupees. Okay, restructuring Power Finance Corporation PFC and Rural Electrification Corporation REC. Comprehensive review of foreign exchange management. You might be a FEMA. Foreign exchange. What is foreign exchange? When you, how much it, if you want to purchase dollars, for example, US dollars, then how much money you have to give to purchase one US dollar. That is the exchange rate of the US dollar and your rupee. Same goes with other currencies as well, foreign currencies. Okay, so that is exchange rate. Okay. Non-debt instrument rules, introduction of market making framework and total return swaps on corporate bond. As I just told you, that bonds launched by the private companies are called corporate bond. So the structure would be made or will be introduced for the framework and total return swap, that if you have purchased a bond, a corporate bond from the market, you can sell it out, just like you can sell out your stocks whenever you want. In the same way, till now you cannot sell out the corporate bonds of all the companies. Okay, only those companies which are very popular you can do it. So government is trying to provide this facility to the people that they can sell out these bonds. And what will happen due to this? The trust will grow. More and more people will purchase the bond now. Okay. Tax proposals for financial sector. Now this is something that was, people are calling it, and I'm going to make several videos also on it. I'll make, this is the wholesome or holistic presentation of budget. I'll make, I think, 6-7 videos on the different aspects of budget later. In this week only I'm planning to do that. Okay, this is something that was a bolt from blue, and it struck the stock market, and stock market plunged. The Sensex Nifty, okay, all the segments, even the MCX market, all of it collapsed on Sunday, right? This is a tax, security transaction tax on futures. See, what are futures and option? Future is something I'm just giving you a very laymanish idea. I'm not going into the technicality. Future is something in stock market. You can purchase the stock. You all know that of different companies, right? You can keep it for as long as you want. That is your investment. What is future? For example, you want to purchase the stock of Reliance. You want to purchase 5,000 stock of Reliance, a batch. In future, batches are purchased, not single stock. So 5,000 stocks or 100 stocks, whatever is the batch size, you want to purchase that of Reliance, but you do not want to purchase it today. Let's say you want to purchase it after 40 days, after 30 days, after 25 days, whatever. So there would be this type of trading that you are doing now for the future date, that is called future. And there are certain rules attached to it. This is the most simpleton definition that I gave you, just to give you the idea what it is. Okay. So this is a transaction, and the stocks and everything, these are called as securities. Shares are called as securities, right? Yeah. Bonds are also called as securities, right? So on every purchase that you will do on future, you will have to pay tax. Initially, the tax was zero. I'm not talking about the profit. It's the transaction that you do. Initially, the tax was 0.02%. Now the tax has been increased to 0.05%. That is 500% increase in the tax. Right. Now, you might think, sir, 0.02, 0.05, very small. This is per transaction. One share, let's say, is of 10,000 rupees. You find out the value of 0.02 will mean 2 up. Now 0.05 will mean 5 upon 100 into 2,000. Right. So, into 2,000. Let's say the share is of 2,000. 25 is the 100. So, for one share, 100 rupees. So, for a batch of 5,000, 0.05. हाँ वही मेरे को ज़्यादा आ रहा है. So 0.05 upon 100 into 100. Now 2,000. So right, 2 ones are 5 are 1 rupee, approximately 1 rupee. So 1 rupee for one share. But I told you in future batches are purchased and batch size is in thousands. So to purchase one batch of 5,000 shares, you are giving the tax of 5,000 rupees. If the batch size is 16,000 just for purchase, you have not availed the profit as of now. If the batch size of 16,000 and this is the normal size, you will pay 16,000 rupees as tax just in the transaction. Getting my point? And if when it was 0.02, it would have been in some paisa sort of thing. Now it is 1 rupee. So when this came, when she announced this, so why would people invest in future? Stock market collapsed. STT on options premium. There are two things, futures and options, right? And exercise of options to be raised to 0.15% from rate of 0.1% and 0.125% respectively. So this is, you can call it 0.150. Initially it was 0.10. So you can see the difference. And from 125, 0.125 to 0.150. Options, call option and put option. These are two options, okay, which are used as a method of hedging to avoid losses. In stock market, options are there. People who studied economics option have taught this. So you use these two options, put option and call option. They give you the guarantee that at this rate, if you will sell, this will happen. Okay, anyway. So if you want to avail these options, again, you will have to pay the tax. So it's just like, looks like that government doesn't want you to do future trading. Okay. Next is increasing farmers' income by enhancing productivity in agriculture and allied sector. and it starts from the program of horticulture. I hope you know what is horticulture. Horticulture doesn't only mean the growing of fruits, rather the growing of vegetables, the growing of certain types of stems and all, growing of cashews. There's several aspects of it. Okay, that all comes under horticulture, not in agriculture. Anyway, so rejuvenate old low yielding orchards. Orchards means Bagh, where these things are grown. So there are many orchards, and I discussed in the last class about the orchards in horticulture, agriculture. Anyway, so there are certain orchards in India, in fact, many orchards, which after prolonged use, they have become ineffective. The production has decreased. So now they need rejuvenation. Government is going to spend money on them. Government is going to rejuvenate it, restart it, so that their productivity can increase. Okay. Then animal husbandry. Support entrepreneurship in the sector to facilitate job creation in rural and urban areas. Loan linked capital subsidy. Animal husbandry, you know. Yeah. So in the sector of animal husbandry, government is trying to start the entrepreneurship system, trying to make animal husbandry a business, just like corporate business. Okay. And providing loans for it. If you want to start the business, if you want to start this enterprise, government will give you loan, so that jobs can be created in the rural areas. Okay. Anyway, supporting high value agriculture. High value agriculture, there are certain things, certain crops, certain fruits, and they are expensive. Avocados, blueberries, huh? Cranberry, right? All these are expensive things. So coconut also, promotion scheme to increase the production and enhance productivity. Indian cashew and cocoa programs. Okay, nowadays cocoa is also very popular among the youth. Okay, instead of drinking coffee, they drink cocoa. Cocoa powder comes in. Okay, dedicated program for Indian cashew and cocoa boost engagement relevance by aligning the employer rules. Then fisheries. The aquaculture is one of the important aspect that supports the agriculture and horticulture. Revenue generated from here also, and that revenue provides a sort of support, because you do not get that much return in agriculture. So government is investing there as well. Integrated development and of seawater, strengthening fisheries, okay, in coastal areas, enabling market linkages for that. So fishery you'll do in a pond, you will do it in the coastal areas. So there should be proper market linkage, so that you can do the fishing and then you can go and sell it in the market. Sandalwood, chandan. Okay, in South India, red sandalwood is very famous, and it is smuggled also, most of it. Anyway, focused cultivation and post harvest processing. Then Bharat-VISTAAR, integrating stack portals and ICAR packages on agricultural practices. Again, government is laying emphasis on the e-portals for the agriculture. Okay. Next is, that's the second chapter. This all was the first chapter. Strengthening the foundation of growth. Okay. Don't worry, remaining chapters are small. So first is infrastructure. Several initiatives for large scale enhancement of public infrastructure, like INVITs. A question was asked on the INVITs and RITs in the year 2023 prelims. INVITs and RITs. RITs are the, you can take it as a bond for real estate. Okay. INVITs are for the infrastructure development, bonds for that. Okay. NHF and NABARD. Several initiatives have been taken so that enhancement can be done on the public infrastructure. And how? Government has launched INVITs. You will purchase INVIT, government will get the money, government will invest it in the infrastructure. In your RITs, government will invest it in the real estate. Okay. So NHF, National Housing Fund. Okay. So government is taking continuous steps to enhance this. Continue to focus on developing infrastructure in cities over 5 lakh population, that is tier 2 and tier 3. So a small town, it is the township government is referring to tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Government is taking initiative for such cities whose population is above 5 lakh. Government is trying to enhance and build their infrastructure. Okay, and you can see, and this we will discuss later as well in the last portion, that is fiscal consolidation. In financial year 2015, here the amount is in lakh crore. What do we mean by public capex? Capex means capital expenditure. Pay attention. Just briefing it out. I'll discuss it in detail later. Capex, that is capital expenditure. It is expenditure done by the government to upgrade the country, to grow the country. If I talk in technical terms, so when government does capital expenditure, what happens? Either the liabilities of the government reduces or the assets get increased. So the expenditure done to increase the assets or reduce the loans and all that government had borrowed earlier, repaying of loan, all this comes under capital expenditure. And capital expenditure for a country is very important and very good thing, right? If government is spending more on the capital, that means government is trying to push the country and grow the country. So maximization of capital expenditure is always considered as the positive trait of the budget. Okay. So here government gave the comparative look to you that in 2015 capital expenditure was 2 lakh crore, and here government, pay attention, here government is talking about public capex. Public capital expenditure means money spent not on to pay back loans. That is not public capex. Public capex means money spent to build roads, money spent to build infrastructure, money spent for the welfare of the people, money spent to build hospitals, school, institution. That is public capex. Okay. So public capex in financial year 2015 was 2 lakh crores only. In 2027, it is 12.2 lakh crores. That is nearly 600% of growth in the public capex. Okay. And this has been elaborated here that setting up infrastructure risk guarantee fund to provide prudently calibrated partial credit guarantees to the lenders. Okay, government is trying to set up a risk guarantee fund. See, if someone who will build all this infrastructure, government does not have that much revenue and resources that it can carry all these work on its own. That is why government has initiated public private partnership thing, right? So that private firms can move ahead and can collaborate with government, and both of them can develop the infrastructure. But again, the problem here is that private firms, they are concerned with the profit maximization. Yes or no? They are concerned with the profit maximization. And developing infrastructure is a long term thing. Till that time, the money of the private firm remains blocked with no return, right? Getting it from the public in the form of toll tax and all, which is done as of now, it is again a long term process. And if something happens in the midst of it, the money is gone. So it is a very risky affair. So that is why many private firms, or most of the private firms, do not want to be the part of it. So for that, to lower this risk factor, government is setting up a guarantee fund. Government will take the guarantee that you invest. If your investment goes astray, I am going to pay for it. Okay. Recycling of real estate assets of CPSEs through setting up dedicated REITs. So, recycling real estate assets. What is the meaning of it? There are so many buildings that did not fulfill the requirements, the laws. In Delhi NCR, you go towards Greater Noida, so many construction sites are there. Buildings are there. Structures are there. So government is now going to do what? Through REITs, government is going to recycle them, is going to develop them. and for that only government is raising fund via writs. Okay. Establishment of new dedicated freight corridor connecting Dankuni in the east to the Surat in the west. If you look at the map, east and west, freight corridor would be set up. Operationalizing 20 new national waterways connecting mineral-rich areas, industrial center and ports. Pay attention. As of now, whatever mining, whatever things related to mining or production are done, then how these goods or minerals are transported from one place to another, the major transportation is roadways via trucks. And if you have to transfer it from one state to another state, you use trains, right? Freight trains, right? Now government also wants to develop waterways for it, ships and all, so that these goods can be transferred from one place to another via ships. Okay. Setting up of ship repair ecosystem catering to the inland waterways. Inland waterways from one place to another. How you go? Road. So you can go via waterways as well. So that's the plan. Launch a coastal cargo promotion scheme to increase the share of inland waterways and coastal shipping from 6% to 12% by 2047. We have 6%. We want to just double it. Okay. Launching a seaplane VGF scheme to indigenize manufacturing. 2 lakh crore support to states under SASCI scheme. 2 lakh crores would again be given to states to develop the infrastructure for these transports. Okay. Purvodaya, development of integrated East Coast industrial. And as I told you earlier, during the start of the budget, that government is laying more emphasis on the eastern part of the country. Government now wants to, and here you also saw waterways would be developed. Okay. Now, under Purvodaya scheme, government wants to develop the industries in the eastern area of the country as well. Okay, because that area is lagging behind the country. Okay. Urbanization, city economics regions. Amplifying the potential of cities to deliver the economic power of agglomerations. Focus on tier 2, tier 3 cities and temple towns. Again, this becomes very important thing. When we talk about amplifying the potential of cities to deliver the economic power of agglomerations. So what is the meaning of it? Government wants the cities, and particularly those cities which have got some temples, which have got something that is historical, or which have, every city has got their own speciality, and that speciality can be used in the economic terms. For example, Aligarh ke locks are famous, so government can work on it and make it something which can generate huge revenue for that city. It can be a business model, right? Getting my point? Okay. And here government is not focusing on very developed countries, very developed cities like Mumbai, Delhi or something like that. Tier 2, tier 3 cities, right? Just like you see, that sweet dish you call it Balu Shahi. Balu Shahi of Gonda is very famous. So this business can be enhanced. Huh? Then you have got Farukka, what you call it, when you go ahead of Tundla, there is a place. Farukkabad and Shikohabad, right? These two are Firozabad, yeah. So the bangles of Firozabad are very famous. In every house, nearly every house, there is a sort of a small setup where they manufacture the bangles. So this can be used. That's the agglomeration. Okay. And the cities which are having temple towns, for example, Mathura is a temple town, Kashi is a temple town, Ayodhya is a temple town. So here you can work on this aspect, right? Growth connectors, 7 high-speed rail corridors. Government is going to start 7 new, apart from that bullet train that had to run between Surat and Mumbai. Now government is talking up, that is still the plan, but 7 new corridors for rail would be set up. Okay, and these are high speed rail corridors between cities like Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Bangalore, Delhi, Varanasi, Siliguri, and these would be environmentally sustainable passenger system. We do not know whether it would be electrical or whatever government is planning, but it will be environmentally sustainable, plus it will be high speed. So that, why high speed? So that people can commute. They can do business between these two cities, can move from one place to another. That will enhance the commerce. Okay. Then we have people centric development. So building, that's the third chapter. So building a strong care on covering genetic and allied care services, training of 1.5 lakh multi-skilled caregivers. So as we know, we have seen in the previous budgets as well that government is focusing on what? Generic medicines. Now government will be training 1.5 lakh people to provide care help based on these generic medicines and all. Self-help entrepreneur SHE to be set up as community-owned retail outlets within the cluster level federations. Divangyan Divyangyan Kaushal Yojana. Okay, it should be Divyangjan Kaushal Yojana. Okay, that's the typo. Divyangjan Kaushal Yojana, providing dignified livelihood opportunities through industry, relevant and customized training specific to disability group. What is the meaning of it? See guys, what is Divyangjan? Divyangjan means people who are impaired with any of the basic body facility. For example, blind, deaf, handicapped, mute, all these come under. In Hindi, the term for them, a dignified term for them is, it was Viklang. Viklang is the original word, but governments have changed it to Divyang. Divyang means godly. That if God took one thing, it has enhanced some other sense. Okay, so Divyangjan. So they are talking about the handicapped, physically handicapped people. So for physically handicapped people, government is launching a scheme called as Divyangjan Kaushal Yojana. Under this, government will be training them, and this training will be based on the impairment that they are suffering from. Okay, so if someone is, for blind people, a different sort of skill development would be there. For deaf people, a different sort of development would be there. And why this would be done? So that these people, once they get skilled, they can do something of their own, they can earn their livelihood, their dependence on others can reduce, and they can live the dignified life. Okay. Then you have Divyang Sahara Yojana, timely access to high quality assistive devices for all eligible. So Sahayata means help. There is a system that different devices, for example, deaf people, they need hearing, for hearing machine they need, right? And for deaf, for someone who is impaired from eyes, sticks and all these things, the different accessories depending on the impairment or handicapsy an individual is suffering from, to provide these provide these machines to these Divyangjans. Supporting artificial limbs, and in this regard, if someone, let's say, is someone is limping, or if someone is handicapped from a leg, limbs means hand and legs, so now artificial legs are there. Okay, if someone got his or her leg amputated, maybe let's say in an accident or maybe by birth, whatever, they can get the artificial limbs. Okay. Manufacturing Corporation of India to scale up production of assistive devices, invest in R&D and AI integration. So government is going to work on it so that such devices can be manufactured in large scale and can be of help to Divyangjan. Strengthen PM Divyaksha Kendras as modern retail style centers. Okay, what is the meaning of it? The centers would be formed. Okay, and these centers are going to reflect the creations that would be done by, or the things that would be created by these Divyangjan. Let's say painting, someone is deaf, they can paint, or they can do whatever, they can create a basket or clothes, a textile, whatever. So there will be centers where these things created by such handicapped people would be sold, would be, displayed, so that people can visit and purchase from them, and it already happens as well. There are certain goods, basically in Khadi Gram Udyog and other such groups are also there, where visually impaired people, they do some manufacturing and all, and you can purchase it. Setting up of Nimhans 2 and upgrading. People who do not know what Nimhans is a medical health care institute. Okay, and it's in Gujarat. Nimhans 1. Yeah, it is in Bengaluru. Nimhans is for mentally ill people. Okay. Now government is planning to upgrade it and set up Nimhans 2 in Ranchi as well, again the eastern part of the country. As I told you, that government is working more on the eastern front of the country, and we saw government is trying to develop the industrial corridor there. Plus, government is working on the water aspect there as well. Government is now setting up the mental ailment institute as well there, establishing emergency and trauma care center district hospital. Trauma care, what is trauma care? Trauma care are if there is some emergency, if some accident occurs. Okay, so going to the hospital nearby, it consumes lot of time and it can threaten the life of an individual, right? Government wants to set up trauma center in every district wise, so that these things can be reduced, if not at all eliminated, to at least reduce them. Then trust based governance, enhancement of duty deferral period for tier 2 and tier 3 authorized economic operators, that is AEO, from 15 to 30 days. Eligible manufacturer importers to get the same duty deferral facility. Government agencies will be encouraged to leverage AEO accreditation. What is the meaning of it? The meaning is that deferral facility, if you are eligible manufacturer and if you are importing something, to get the same duty deferral facility, you will be getting a higher time period to pay the duties on your imports or the manufacturing that you are doing based on the import. Okay. Transformation of customs warehousing framework. Warehousing, I've already told you. Customs is a duty that is levied when you produce something. Okay. Into a warehouse operator centric system with self declarations, etc. Extension of validity period of advance ruling binding on customs from 3 years to 5 years. So initially the period to pay the duties to settle your customs after the manufacturing of the good is 3 years. Government is enhancing it to 5 years. That is again giving more window. Filing of bill of entry by a trusted importer and arrival of goods to automatically notify customs. Regular importers with trusted long-standing supply chains will be recognized in the risk system, so that the need for verification of their cargo every time can be minimized. So when someone imports, every time a parcel, a cargo, or shipment comes, you have to get it verified. You have to get it passed by the custom department. Then only you can use it. And this kills a lot of time. That actually hampers the business, that hampers the trade, right or wrong. So what government is going to do, if someone is there who is recognized importer, that means they are doing this business from quite a long time in the same business. So such people would be identified, such regular importers would be identified, and certain flexibility would be shown to them if their cargo arrives. Okay. Fifth is ease of doing business and ease of living. We have discussed few aspects of it, where we saw that deregulation would be done, certain compliances would be removed, so that people can start and sustain the business properly in India. Getting my point? Just a minute. So here, individual person resident outside India will be permitted to invest in equity instrument of the listed Indian companies through portfolio investment scheme. So if there is someone who is living outside the India, person resident outside the India, now they are given permission to invest in the Indian stock market, secondary market through your investment scheme called as PIS. Second is interest awarded by the motor accident claim tribunal to natural person will be exempt from income tax, and any TDS on this account will be done away with. So if you are getting any interest by the motor accident claim tribunal, so now this will be exempted from income tax. You will not be required to pay any tax on it. Reduce TCS. What is TCS? Tax collected at source. Okay, tax collected at source rate on sale of overseas tour program package from 5 and 20% to 2% without any stipulation of amount. See, if you are going for a tour, if you are going to visit some place, then if you are purchasing something, if you are going abroad, so there's TCS tax that will be collected at that source from where you are purchasing. Initially, it ranged from 5 to 20%. That means the tourist, they had to pay a lot of it as a tax. It will now be reduced to 2%. TDS, tax deducted on source on supply of manpower services, to be at the rate of either 1% or 2%. Obtaining a lower or nil deduction certificate through rule-based automated process for small taxpayers. Pay attention, guys. Government wants to bring more and more people under the umbrella of direct taxes, of the tax system. So as of now, people whose income is less, they do not pay any income tax and they do not have any certificate. They are actually, in a sense, not the part of the formal economy. So now what government is saying, that government will approach low earning people like this, and government will ask them to file their returns. Okay, do not give any tax, zero tax. Just show the documents. Just show the account. Just file it. Okay, that's called filing of tax. I don't know you know it or not. So it is done, right? If you file it, we are going to give you a certificate, that zero tax certificate. But you will be part of the system. You will be the part of the formal economy. You will be in records. Okay. Enable depositories to accept from 15G form to 15H from taxpayer holding securities in multiple companies. Okay, so depositories, you know what are depositories? Depositories are the places where the securities are kept. Okay, and if you keep security, if you invest the money in the bonds, if you invest the money in the equity, if you invest the money in these places, then you'll use to fill up 15H form. Now government is saying that apart from this 15G form, 15H form of the taxpayer would be collected. Time available for revising returns extended from 31st December to 31st March with the payment of a nominal fee. Guys, initially, if the last date is 31st December and you are not able to oblige with it, then very high penalty was imposed. And and you sometimes you had to face the repercussions as well. Government has now allowed it that okay, if you're not able to file the return by 31st December, you can do it by 31st March. Very small penalty we are going to apply. You can say a sort of penalty for delaying it, not high penalty. Individuals with ITR 1 and ITR 2 returns will continue to file till 31st July, and non-audit business causes or trust are proposed to be allowed time till 31st August. Now that is all taxation filing, not of that importance to you. TDS on the sale of immovable property by non-resident to be deducted and deposited through resident buyer's PAN instead of TAN. Okay, this is I just want you to tell you this thing again. So TDS on the sale of immovable property by a non-resident. Someone is there, let's say settled in Texas, US. He has got property in Delhi. Now that individual sells the property and I purchase the property. Okay. Now that individual is living in Texas, US. He's not living in India. Okay. So the tax that would be deducted, okay, it would be deducted and deposited through my PAN because I am the resident, not from his TAN. Okay. Introducing a one-time 6-month foreign asset disclosure scheme below a certain size for, see, earlier the scheme was launched 9-10 years back in 2016 and 9 years back, 2016 and 2017. The government came up with the scheme that if you have, and that was for very rich people, not for the commoners. There the asset value was more than 50 cr, 100 cr, of that range. So if you have got asset, any deposits, any financial asset in the foreign land, and you have not declared it to the government, I'm talking about the scheme that was there earlier. Then government bought a scheme, it gave a certain time span and asked these people to declare their assets, pay this much tax, and we are going to legalize it. We are going to forget it. Nothing done. Okay. Now government has brought the same scheme, but not for such big people, for the small taxpayers, for the small people. Okay. Certain size for small payers. You're paying tax, someone is earning, let's say 1 crore, 2 crore in a year, or 30-40 lakh in a year. And let's say you have got a very small property in Holland and you have not declared it. The government is saying declare it, we give you 6 months time period, we will just charge a small amount of penalty and it's legal now. Okay. So this window has also been provided. Allow taxpayer to update their returns even after reassessment proceeding have been initiated at an additional 10% rate over and above the rate applicable for relevant year. What is the meaning of it? The meaning is that when you used to file the return, and it happens very normally, you, because you're filing the return for the entire year, you're filing the tax return I'm talking about. Hello. So you might forget something, you might forget an entry, you might skip an entry, and that's very humane. So earlier there was no provision that what to do with such entries. Now you cannot file again, right? So now what government is saying, that you can update the returns even after the reassessment processings have been done. Okay, have been initiated at an, and you will have to pay 10% tax rate. Just 10% tax rate you can pay, and you can add the entry even after the reassessment has been initiated by the government. Okay. Framework for immunity from penalty and prosecution in the case of underreporting extended to misreporting. Suppose Mr. Chawla's income was 60 lakh rupees per annum, and Mr. Chawla, if he would have declared 60 lakh rupees per annum as his income, he would be paying higher taxes. Right. So what Mr. Chawla did was he was very cunning and he showed his income as 20 lakh rupees. So what is this? Underreporting. Income is more, he is reporting less. And this was a criminal offense. If he gets caught up, he can be jailed and fined and both. Okay. So now what government is saying, that there was a framework for immunity from penalty and prosecution in the cases of underreporting extended to misreporting. So initially what government did was, government brought a framework that okay, if you are underreporting, we are not going to send you to jail, and this was done several years back under Modi government. Okay, we are not going to prosecute it, that's what it is, sending to jail. We are not going to fine you heavily, this also we are not going to do. We are only going to take certain percent of it as a tax which you are liable to pay, and that's it. Now government has also extended this facility for misreporting. Misreporting means wrong information. Underreporting means, for example, someone is earning 15 lakh and he's saying I'm not earning at all. That is misreporting. Okay, so if in case of misreporting also, you will not be sent behind the bars, you will not be prosecuted. Certain amount of tax what you are liable to pay, you should pay that tax with a small penalty or something, and that's it, done. Okay. Non-production of books of account and documents and requirement of TDS payment is decriminalized. If you fail to file your returns in an year, it was a criminal offense that you are earning but you are not filing the return. You could be jailed and fined heavily. 100 to 200% could be the fine. Okay. But now this is not a criminal act. As I told you in the start of the budget as well, that government has removed so many laws which were criminal. You could have been jailed for it. Immunity from for prosecution with retrospective effect from 1/10/2024 for non-disclosure of non-immovable foreign assets with aggregate value less than rupees 20 lakh. Again, the prosecution is immunity from prosecution is given. That means again you will not be charged, framed, or sent to jail for what? If you are not declaring any foreign asset whose value is still 20 lakh. Earlier you could have been jailed, but now this is not the case. Exemption from minimum alternate tax MAT to all non-residents who pay tax on presumptive basis. MAT is a tax which has, there are certain tax called as Google tax, MAT. All these are the taxes for the people who are not the residents of the country or are the foreigners, but they are doing their business activities in this country as well, and hence they are earning from here. So when they are earning, there are certain taxes with other names that government collects from them. Okay, so one such tax was minimum alternate tax. Now government has is saying that if you are an NRI, if you are a foreigner, you're doing some sort of business here, there is no need to pay MAT. If you are paying some other tax, if you are paying some service tax, some other taxes, if you are the part of the taxation system, so no need to pay an additional tax called MAT. Okay. Constitute a joint committee of Ministry of Corporate Affairs and Central Board as direct taxes for incorporating the requirement of income communication and disclosure standard ICDS in the Indian accounting standard. Okay, that is tax buyback for all types of shareholders as capital gains. However, promoters will pay an additional buyback tax. What is the meaning of it? The meaning is in corporate it still happens. The employees of the corporate house gives certain percent or certain number of their shares to the employees. For example, Google. If you are working in Google, Google will assign you 5 shares of it. 5 shares of Google. Okay. Many corporates do such thing. So, and when that employee used to leave the company, so this practice has started that the employer used to buy back the share. You give me to me. Okay. So, and the employee got the money. He used to sell it back to the employer. But in the long term, it is harmful for the employee. How it is harmful? Because you see, these are big corporate houses. The prices are going to surge, right? It was an investment, and that too free of cost investment for you. You lost that investment. So to curtail this practice, now government is going to impose a capital gain tax on the employer who will buy this back, buyback tax. Set of using available MAT credit to be allowed to an extent of 1/4 of the tax liability in the new regime. MAT is proposed to be made final tax. Okay. Now, 1/4 of the tax liability, the new regime is under new regime, MAT can be 1/4 of the, it will be reduced till 1/4. Presently, whatever the MAT is according to the tax regime, it will be reduced to 1/4 of it. MAT is proposed to be made, and this will be the final tax. Apart from this, there won't be any other tax for the non-residents and foreigner. This is the final tax. Exempt BCD on drugs or medicines for cancer patients. For cancer patients, BCD will be removed. It will not be taken. And 17 other drugs which are used for life critical diseases. Single and interconnected digital window for cargo clearance approval. If you have to export the cargo, if you have to import the cargo, there are so many certain departments where you have to get permit from. Now there will be one single window from where you can get the approval. Again, the ease of doing business. Customs integrated system to be rolled out in 2 years. In 2 years, the customs will all be integrated. Certain plans would be made so that this custom duty thing can be simplified and made business friendly. Honest taxpayers willing to settle disputes will now be able to close cases by paying an additional amount lieu of penalty. There are so many cases fought between the individual and the government. For what? Either underreporting or misreporting, or that would have been the tax, he paid less. So such disputes, there are so many such disputes pending between the government and the defaulter. Government is saying that, see, if you want to settle this dispute, whatever is the penalty, we are going to discuss it. Just pay it. Let's finish the case. Start afresh. Okay. We are not going to prosecute. We are not going to do any such thing. Just pay and move ahead. Okay. Now, guys, fiscal matters. And we started from here, finance commission thing. So the government has accepted the recommendations of the commission to retain the vertical share of devolution at 41%. Vertical share, I explained. Vertical share is what? Vertical imbalance is what? Difference between the state and the center. So government has acknowledged and accepted the recommendation that it is going to give 41% of its revenue to the states, okay, to reduce this vertical imbalance. Next is provision of rupees 1.5 lakh crore to the states for the financial year 27 as finance commission grants. The grant is something that you do not have to return. So finance commission suggested the grant also to reduce this gap. So government is ready to give 1.4 lakh crore in the financial year 27. These include rural and urban local bodies and disaster management grants as well. Okay. Rural bodies, government gives grants to the municipal party, municipal corporation, municipal committees. Then there's disaster management committee. All these things get grants from the government. Okay. Fiscal consolidation. Central government will target reaching debt to GDP ratio of 50 plus minus 1% by 2030. See, guys, there have been so many speculation that what is the debt to GDP ratio? What is the debt to GDP ratio of the government? What is the meaning of debt to GDP? GDP means gross domestic product, the total production, the total income of your country, right? You can take it like that. Debt is the money you have borrowed internally as well as externally. Getting me? So what percentage of GDP have you borrowed? That actually shows that how indebted a government of a particular country is. And the figures were not out. People were speculating. Few were saying 70%, few were saying 60%, some was saying 80%. Government has given the official data. Government said that our debt to GDP ratio is 56.1%. Okay. And this is the debt to GDP ratio of the center, not of the state. That central debt to GDP ratio is 56.1%. In which year? In this year 2025-26. And government is saying that it will reduce it to 55.6% in the year 2026-27. Getting my point? And government is saying by 2030, our target is to reduce debt to GDP ratio to 50 plus minus 1%. And lower GDP to debt ratio is always very good for the economy. Yeah, that means the loan on the government is less, the burden on the government is less. And see, if there is loan on the government, then government has to pay the interest on the loan. And interest comes under what? Interest comes under your revenue expenditure, right? It is not the capex, whether it is the revenue expenditure which is not good. Revenue expenditure are the operational expenditure. Yes or no? Yeah. Okay. Then government says in the year 2025-26, the fiscal deficit has been estimated at par with the BE of 2025-26 at 4.4% of GDP. What is this RE and BE? See, as I told you that budget is for the upcoming year, right? These expenditures have not occurred. These revenues or receipts have not yet come. These are all the estimates, right or wrong? It's the estimate that this will happen. We will spend this much. These are the figures we think by looking. And this is not like Kori Kalpana that government is saying anything. Based on facts and figures, these estimates are given. So what government estimated? Government said in 2025-26 that our fiscal deficit will be 4.4%. And then government is saying that now we are happy to announce that what we planned, we achieved. Our fiscal deficit is 4.4%. Okay, for this year. In a line with the new fiscal prudence path of debt consolidation, the fiscal deficit in BE 2026-27 is estimated to be 4.3%. In the next year, government is saying this year 26 to 27, we are going to further reduce it to 4.3%. That's a good thing. And this was highlighted in the economic survey as well, right? Fiscal deficit, it represents what? Fiscal deficit is what? The formula of fiscal deficit, and this year many questions were asked on fiscal and primary and budget deficit in prelims. Anyway, fiscal deficit is equal to total expenditure minus total receipts apart from the borrowings. Why? Because whatever total is money you have spent and whatever total money you earned, if you subtract it, if it comes out to be negative, that means you're falling short of this much money. So this much money you will borrow, whatever you are falling short of. So if you will subtract borrowing from it, it will become zero. Fiscal deficit is the money that you borrow, right? Anyway, so lower fiscal deficit means we are borrowing a smaller and smaller quantity from abroad or from here. Anyway, and now you can look at this. That's very good. You see, here we as a percentage of GDP, and all these are the years. This sky blue is 2022-23, orange is 2023-24, green color is 24-25, yellow is 25-26, RE, that means realized estimates, and 20, and this green color, do green ho gaya kya? I don't know what type of color, lightish green you can call it. It is for 26-27. This is estimated. I mean, we have not entered 26-27. From 1st of April, it will start. So you can see fiscal deficit in 22-23 was 6.5%. Then it reduced to some 5.4% in 23-24. Okay. Then in 24-25 and 25-26, it remained 4.3%. Yes or no? 25-26. Okay, and this is estimated for next year. If now again there is revenue deficit, what is revenue deficit? Revenue deficit means revenue. By the way, you know what is deficit? Deficit is shortage, the loss of the government. Revenue expenditure minus revenue receipts. What is revenue expenditure? Revenue expenditure is that expenditure which is recurring in nature, these are the characteristics of revenue expenditure. This is recurring in nature, it is short term, it does not reduce any liability. That means you are not repaying the loans in revenue expenditure, nor it creates any assets. No asset is created in revenue expenditure, right? Then what type of expenditure is it? If you are not creating the assets, nor you are repaying the loans, this is the operational expenditure that you call in Hindi rojmarra ke kharche. Yeah. For example, you commute from your place, wherever you live, and you come to this institute. So when you come, you are paying certain transportation charges. This is not your investment. It is not going to give you any sort of return. I'm not talking about the act that you are going to do and going to do here. I'm not talking about studying. I'm talking about the expense, your transportation. But you are doing it to reach here. Yeah, and neither are you. Let's say you borrowed 5,000 rupees from your friend. So when you are spending on transportation, are you paying back to your friend? Are you reducing your loan? No. So your liabilities have not reduced. Loan is your liability. Neither you have invested it. Your assets have not increased. So what is this? This is your revenue expenditure. You eat food to stay alive. Revenue expenditure. Yes or no? Got my point? So for revenue expenditure for government is paying the salaries of the employees, paying the pensions of the ex-employees who have retired, right? Paying the interest on the loans that have been taken, right or wrong, etc. The operational expenses to keep the system alive, that is revenue expenditure, right? What is revenue receipt? Revenue receipt are those receipts, pay attention, again short term, recurring, that is repetitive. Revenue receipts do not create liabilities. That means under revenue receipt, you do not borrow from anyone, rather you earn it, or government earns it. Government does not borrow here. They do not create liability, nor do they reduce the assets. That means government does not sell its stake from the companies. Government is not selling its assets in revenue receipts. So what type of receipts are these? Example, taxable income, non-taxable income. Income tax is revenue receipt. GST, which is indirect tax, it is also revenue receipt. All the direct and indirect taxes, they come under revenue receipt. Non-taxable income, the challan that you pay, let's say you surpassed any law, you violated any law, traffic law, the challan you pay or not. Yeah. The tenders that are being launched by government, you pay the fee for that. Non-taxable income of the government. Yes or no? So all government has invested in so many PSUs, the profit that government gets from there. Government has given loans to so many companies, the interest that government earns from that. All these are the earnings, they come under revenue receipt. So difference between revenue expenditure and revenue receipt is called revenue deficit, and that is again bad. Receipts should be more, revenue receipt, expenditure should be low. So revenue deficit, you can also see again starting from 22-23, it is continuously declining. 1.50 it will be. Okay, primary deficit, your fiscal deficit, if you remove interest payments from it. So it gives you the core, that if you remove the interest, forget about how much money you have to pay in the interest. Then by primary deficit, you get the actual picture, that actually how much you are falling short in terms of income, how much your income is less than the expenditure. Yeah. So that's what primary deficit tells you. It was 3% of the GDP in 22-23, would become 0.70. Okay, then effective revenue deficit. Here you remove, see, the money that government gives to the states, government counts it in the revenue expenditure. But that is not the revenue expenditure, because states are going to invest it. That is capex for state, capital expenditure for state. And when states are also the part of the union, so it is ultimately long term going to become the capex for the government as well. So if you remove the expenditure and grants given to the state, then the deficit that you get is called effective revenue deficit. It has also reduced from 2.8 to 0.30. Understood, guys? Now, here I am talking about the receipts of the government. You are doing a job, so your money comes from the salary, right? Similarly, as I told you, government has several sources of earning. Yeah, there are two sources, major, pay attention. Two major sources of earning for the government, but only two sources of earning. Revenue and capital receipts. Revenue receipts, just now I told you, taxable, non-taxable income. These receipts, you do not increase your liability, that means no extra borrowing you do, nor you reduce your assets, that means you are not selling anything. And if I ask you that how can you earn, how can you get the money, there are several ways for it. Either you can do a job, you can do a business, you can earn the money, or you can take loan from somewhere. Yeah, or you can sell the gold of your home, then also you'll get money, but you are reducing the asset in that case. So in revenue, you are neither selling the gold nor you are borrowing, you are just earning. Okay, but in capital receipts are those receipts where assets are reduced or liabilities are increased. So you might have heard a term called disinvestment. What is disinvestment? It comes under capital receipts. Government sells its assets, like Air India has been sold. Yep. Ports have been sold to Adani, right? Government reduces its shares from the PSUs, that means selling its acquisitions. assets, all this. So when government will sell, obviously government will get the money. Hello, government will get the money, but government is actually reducing its assets as well. So it will come under capital receipt. If government borrows from you in terms of bonds, capital receipt, that's a borrowed money. Liability has increased for the government. Government has to pay you back. If government does external borrowing, borrowing from some foreign country, that is again capital receipt for the government. Getting my point? Hello, right? So these are the two types of receipts for the government. So money comes from, pay attention guys, 24%, and that's a red flag. 24% government borrows. So major source of income for government is still borrowing. Okay. After, so that's the major source. Number two is income tax. Only 7-8 crore people pay income tax. 21% comes from the income tax. And that is, so disheartening. Only 18% from corporate tax. This should have been more. These are corporates. These are individuals. Right. Third is corporation tax. What is corporation tax? See, individuals pay, understand it in this way. Mukesh Ambani is the owner of Reliance Industries. Mukesh Ambani will pay income tax on his income, not the income of the company. Let's say his company is paying him 50 CR per year, right? So the income of Mukesh Ambani is 50 CR. He will pay income tax on 50 CR. Income tax is individual tax, right? Let's say Reliance made the profit of 1000 or 10,000 CR in that particular year, but Reliance gave 50 CR to Mukesh Ambani. Mukesh Ambani will not pay for that 10,000 CR. That is the headache of Reliance. That is the headache of the firm. He will be concerned with his 50 CR. He will pay tax on that. Okay. Now, corporation tax. Corporation tax or corporate tax is the tax that now Reliance is going to pay on its income of 10,000 CR. Got it? Because under taxation, under accounting system, we take firms as a different entity. Yeah, just like you are an entity, you have your PAN card. Similarly, every company has its PAN card, right? It's a different entity. So corporation tax 18%. Then you see GST. These are indirect taxes. GST and other taxes 15%. Okay. So that's the fourth source. Then I told you non-tax revenue. Yes or no? Tax and non-tax, challan, receipts, all these things. 10% comes from here. Okay. Then excise duty, indirect tax again. Then customs duty, import export pay. Right. Then non-debt capital receipts, 2%. Non-debt capital receipt means what? Non-debt means you are not borrowing. Borrowing is here. But still it is a capital receipt. Means this investment, the shares that government is sharing, the assets that government is selling. Okay. Fine, guys. So that was the receipt of the government. Now the thing is, what is the expenditure? Where the money goes to? Just give me 1 minute. Let me drink some water. Then we will start again. Okay, just 1 minute, guys. Okay, I'm back. Fine. So now the money goes to, rupee goes to, highest goes to the states. Under finance commission, I told you the share of taxes government gives to the state 22%. Okay, but this is a thing to worry. Number two, interest payment is 20%. 20% of the revenue of the government goes to the for the interest payment on the money borrowed by the government. Then central sector schemes launched by the government for the welfare of people, 17% goes to that. In defense, 11% goes. Okay. Then centrally sponsored scheme, not started, rather sponsored by government, 8% goes there. Finance Commission and other transfer, Finance Commission initiates certain grants. Okay, certain measures have to be taken by the government to help the states in need. 7%. Then government gives so many subsidies on the gas cylinder then to the farmers in the urea, fertilizers. So many things are there. So many subsidies given by, then free ration is given to the people, right? ATCR people. All these are the subsidies. 6% of the earning goes to it. Then civil pension given to the government employees, 2%. Other expenditures, 7%. Got it? So that's the total expenditure. So if I talk about receipts, so see, capital receipts, how do you get capital receipt? If the government sells the assets or borrows the money, and this is, it is going to be 18.1 in 26-27, that is estimated, and that is not good. Capital receipts are getting high. And why so? Because government is planning to borrow a lot of money in this year 26-27. So our borrowings are again going to increase, and that is bad. For 25-26, it was 16.2%. Okay. Sorry, I said percent. 16.2 lakh crore, and it will now be 18.1 lakh crore in 26-27. Okay, it is in lakh crores, not in percentage. If we talk about revenue receipt, again in lakh crores. So in 25-26, it was less. The estimate was 34.2 lakh crores will be raised, will be earned by the government, but government was able to raise 33.4 lakh crores only. In 26-27, it is expected to increase to 35.3 lakh crore rupees, and it was 30.4 lakh crore rupees in 24-25. Fine. Now, if I talk about the expenditure, as I said, capital expenditure is always good for the economy. So you see, 13.2 lakh crore was the capital expenditure in 24-25. Government increased it and planned 15.5 lakh crore, out of which government has already spent 14 lakh crore in the previous year. Okay, in 26-27, government is planning 17.1 lakh crore of the capital expenditure. So again, we see a rise in it, rise of 3.1 lakh crores. Anyway, revenue expenditure, this is operational expense. This is bad. It should be low. Your operational expenses should be low. Your capex should be high. But in 26-27, it is going to increase to 41.3 lakh crores. In 25-26, it is 38.7 lakh crores. Government estimated it to be 39.4 lakh crore, but it declined. It is actually 38.7 lakh crore. But it is on increase. You see, it was 36 lakh crore in 24-25. Robust economic foundations, trend in net receipts of center. This yellow color is telling you center's net tax revenue. Blue color is talking about non-tax revenue, and this is white color is non-debt capital receipts, that is your disinvestment and all. Okay, so you see 22, 23, 24, 25, 25, 26 and 26, 27, and the figure is in lakh crores. Okay, so you see tax revenue of center is increasing from 22-23 to 26-27. It has increased. Okay, non-tax revenue of the center has increased, but in 25-26 and 26-27 it will nearly be same, right? Non-debt capital receipts of the center, that is disinvestment, it fell in 24-25, but again it is increasing at high rate in 25-26 and 26-27. Clear, guys? And if we talk about total transfer to the states and union territories, so in 22-23, government gave 18.7 lakh crore to state and UTs. In 23-24, gave 20.7 lakh crore. In 24-25, 22.3 lakh crore. 25-26, 23.4 lakh crore. So that is increasing. And 26-27, estimate transfer to state and union territories will be 26.2 lakh crores. Okay. So that was all. That was the holistic budget that I presented in front of you. As I said, I'm planning to make 6-7 videos, small videos of 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes on budget. And those videos will be very important for you because they will be directed to the particular segment. For example, for financial market, what this budget says, or what are the negating points of this budget. So on such topics, I'll make the videos, and that would be available on Plutus IAS channel, YouTube. You can watch it. Thank you, guys. I hope you understood it. Bye-bye.